As our relationship deepened, the inevitable discussions about the future began to surface. It started casually, over dinner one evening, when Ethan mentioned his dream of owning a house by the coast. The idea was idyllic, romantic even, but it immediately set my mind racing with practical considerations. "A house by the coast sounds amazing," I said carefully, setting my fork down. "But have you thought about the logistics, the maintenance, the cost of insurance?" Ethan's grin faltered slightly.
I haven't worked out all the details yet. I just know it's something I've always wanted.
His words were earnest, but they only deepened the knot of concern in my chest. I valued security, the kind that came from meticulous planning and saving. Ethan, on the other hand, had a more spontaneous approach to life and money. It was a dynamic that had worked well for us in the short term, but as we began to imagine a future together, the differences in our philosophies became impossible to ignore. The following weekend, we sat down with a notebook and a stack of financial documents. It was my idea, of course. I couldn't imagine moving forward without a clear plan. "Let's lay everything out," I suggested, keeping my tone neutral. "That way, we can figure out how to align our goals." Ethan nodded, though I could see the tension in his posture. He wasn't used to this level of scrutiny. For me, though, it felt necessary. I thrived on organization, on knowing exactly where every dollar was going. It wasn't about control, it was about creating a foundation we could build on. "So here's where I stand," I began, outlining my savings, investments, and monthly budget. Ethan listened quietly, his expression unreadable. When it was his turn, he hesitated before sliding his notebook across the table.
It's not as detailed as yours,
He admitted, a faint flush creeping up his neck.
but this is what I've got.
As I scanned his notes, I saw potential but also gaps. His spending habits were looser than mine, with frequent mentions of impromptu trips and nights out. It was clear that he valued experiences over material possessions, a trait I admired but struggled to reconcile with my own priorities. "Ethan," I said gently, "I love that you prioritize living in the moment, but if we're going to build a life together, we need to find a balance between enjoying today and planning for tomorrow." He sighed, running a hand through his hair.
I know. It's just... I don't want to get so caught up in planning that we forget to actually live.
His words gave me pause. He wasn't wrong. There was a part of me that clung so tightly to structure that it sometimes overshadowed the simple joys of life. But I also knew that without a plan, the future we both dreamed of could slip through our fingers. "What if we create a system that works for both of us?" I suggested. "A budget that allows room for spontaneity, but also keeps us on track with our goals." Ethan considered this, his brow furrowing in thought. Finally, he nodded.
I can work with that.
Over the next few weeks, we worked together to create a financial plan. It wasn't easy. There were moments of frustration, of miscommunication, but also moments of understanding and compromise. I learned to loosen my grip, to leave space for the unexpected, while Ethan began to see the value in planning. One evening, as we reviewed our progress, Ethan reached across the table to take my hand. "I know this isn't your favorite thing to talk about," I said, my voice tinged with both gratitude and apology. "But I really believe this will make us stronger."
I do too,
He replied, his grip firm but reassuring.
and I'm glad we're doing this together.
In that moment, I felt a deep sense of connection and hope. Navigating our financial differences had been a challenge, but it had also shown me the strength of our partnership. Ethan's willingness to meet me halfway, to adapt without losing his sense of self, reminded me why I'd fallen for him in the first place. As I lay in bed that night, I thought about the future we were building. Not perfect, but ours. And for the first time in a long while, I felt ready to embrace the unknown, knowing we'd face it together.